Alright, it is time for a dose, a slice of the real talk, because you've heard me talk about the good things about this patch, the less good things about this patch, but perhaps what will actually mean the most is what I'm actually going to do when the rubber hits the road, right? What are my actions actually going to be? So, this is my patch 9.1 plan. First though, we gotta zoom back, and I've gotta tell you where I'm at. I've got to expose myself to you. Hey. Basically, to expose what I've actually done in 9.0 and how I've approached the game. So here is the deal. I have one max level toon in Shadowlands. And, you know, in Battle for Azeroth, it was pretty much the same. You know, in Legion, I actually got everything to max level. Every single class. So maybe that does tell you something. I mean, a part of that's because fresh alts didn't exactly seem like an appealing prospect, as much as I will say that there are elements of the initial gearing experience, like hopping on, doing some BGs with the boys, getting loads of honor, and that stuff is really fun to do. But no, I had one max level character, and here's the deal, right? I'm in a guild, we raid 2 times per week. Fantastic guild, we all have a blast. So what was my personal goal? It was to get Curve. And as soon as I got Curve, you know, it wasn't quite as dramatic as Preach's situation where they killed Mythic Denathrius, and then as they were going to the loot, half the feckin' guild typed in /gquit. But no, I got Curve, and almost immediately after we got Curve, most of my guild just kind of wandered away from the game. Of course, we're all on the same Discord server, so hey, we're all still mates. But that was the situation. And that does speak volumes to the rest of Shadowlands. So you might be wondering, why did I drop out? Maybe it's the same as you. So thing number one for me, it's World of Warcraft. Now, back in the day, I used to like, you know, my mugs, my collections, you know, I'd go do some Argent tournament, you know, do Netherwing, I did all that. But right now, it's a situation where Blizzard, for quite a while now, have taught me as a player to not play the current version of the game. They have taught me that good things come to those who wait. And I'm very glad I did not grind Anima in 9.0, because if I did grind Anima in 9.0, I would have felt a bit silly. Because number one, they would have changed the rules of the whole Anima system in the 9.0.5 updates. Number two, it's probably going to be easier to get in this patch, right? So I would have felt a bit silly. And I knew that in advance. Another example of that is with the legendaries in Torghast. I chose not to pursue legendaries. I mean, I only upgraded my raiding Lego once. My character was item level 213, and people have tried to roast me for that, being like, oh my god, bro, you don't have good gear in your character, you're such a scrub. And I'm like, yeah, well, the only thing I actually care about is per item level parses, and as long as my guild's progressing and I'm vaguely near the top of the DPS meters, I'm happy. I don't give a shit what you think. So that's what it was like for me. I just didn't feel the need to get gear for gear's sake. My goal was the achievement of defeating Denathrius, and it felt great when we did it. There was nerd screams and all, it was awesome. And the thing with the Legos is, you know, I got Serpent Stalker's Trickery up to its 2nd rank on my shoulders. And I decided, look, this legendary acquisition system is clearly borked, and there is no way Blizzard is going to continue it. And in a way, I was proven right and proven wrong. I'll get into that soon, but suffice to say, I made the right call in not engaging in the legendary system in the launch of Shadowlands. And that me not playing the game was the right decision to make, I think does speak sort of volumes. Now, there is another side to me. I had big personal and professional life things going on. The professional life things you'll see decently soon. The personal life things, you know, pretty much all good now. Maybe I'll fill you in, maybe I won't, we'll see. So that's basically it. After killing Denathrius, you know, we did one night trying to get glory of the Nathria Raider, and I just dropped out. Because, you know, getting Anima doesn't seem like that much fun. Some of the mounts are cool, but I mean, a few of them are just stags that look kind of like the stag that I got for my renown bar anyway. So I didn't really feel the need to get those. You know, I feel motivated to get a new mount if it's like a big new feeling thing. And fair enough, 9.1 actually does have a few of those. So that was essentially the situation. And then, of course, by the time we'd all just dropped out. So even though I wanted to do some PvP, it wasn't really super possible because the guild dynamics had fallen apart. And I think that's really where Carbot's recent animation, speaks to us, right? Because some of us, we have that yearning to play WoW, but people we know have left. So it's like, well, I want to do PvP with my mates, not some random from the pre-made finder. I want to do it with my guild, but oh no, my guild has wandered away to a game that people keep on talking about with a free trial or something like that, they say. Joking. So that's what was up with me. What am I doing in patch 9.1? I'm going hard. Going hard. Going in. That's the situation. A few of us have decided in the guild, we're going to hit it early, we're going to hit it hard, we're going to hit it fast, we're going to go just big dick energy maximum into the new patch. So what does that actually mean? Well, on my PvE character, and note, I said PvE character, and you're going to understand this soon because it does involve the problems of Shadowlands and meaningful choice. God, is meaningful choice the new morally grey, right? The phrase of the expansion that we all sort of take the mick out of. But no, I'm going pretty hard. Of course, what that more means for me is Keystone Master. Put it this way. I want to time everything at plus 15. Am I going to do it all twice at Tyrannical and Fortified just to get the achievement? Maybe, maybe not, we'll see. But I want to go deeply into the Mythic Plus system because, look, you guys know I prefer a mega dungeon type of deal to the gotta go fast nature of a Mythic Plus dungeon. And whenever I talk about, WoW feeling like Zoomery esportsy, it's kind of more about the time pressure and the design texture. Right? I think texture is a great word, the design texture of the dungeons, where you feel like you gotta go faster, versus, hey, this boss is rock hard, but much like how we do a raid, we're just gonna sit here and we're gonna bash our heads off it till we win. That doesn't work as much in the Mythic Plus system, and for me it works in a way where it's like, yeah, you lost to the boss, well, tough shit, your entire run's in the bin now, and it doesn't feel great, but whatever. Keystone Master, I'm going to go in because, look, there's loads of people, I love the Mythic Plus system, it's only fair I properly give it its due at a decently high level. So that's that situation, doing that in my PvE Hunter, because of course it's got the added benefit of really helping me get some of those crispy logs in the new raid. And, here's the thing, I'm all about those crispy logs, I want to be some sweaty gamer, and you might be like, dude, all your logs are like 30th percentile. Well, they are far higher percentile. I've got lots of perps and orange logs, that on a per item level, on the item level logs, right? Item level rankings, not overall. But I think the difference this time is I'm actually going to try to bother gearing my character. Because in the previous patch, as long as I didn't feel like I was bottlenecking my team, I didn't give a shit about gear. That was my reality. But this time, though, I'm going to go deep into KSM. Going to try to get Curve. I mean, I'm going to get Curve. I mean, come on, it's Curve, obviously. Now, some people say, oh, that Bellular, he's not even a Mythic Raider. To which I say, yeah, of course not. Of course I'm not a Mythic Raider, and part of the reason why is, as much as getting access to some of those cool new spicy mechanics is super fun to me, honestly, the sort of super rock hard tuning of it and the very massive time requirement of it, for me, it's like I kind of want to spend 6 to 8 weeks of my life in a new raid, going twice a week to get my progression, and then I kind of want to call it quits. For me, I don't want to be doing the same thing 2-3 times a week for, 4 months. Because if I was raiding Mythics, you guys know, I'm not going to be in some high-tier Mythic raiding guild, right? You know that ain't me. So that's why I'm not raiding Mythics. It's the sort of thing I think I probably could, but at the same time, Matt and our team, of course you'll have seen him from our live streams, he did Mythic Antorus. Nice little story. He actually downed Argus it was like the final possible attempt before pre-patch of the next expansion. So the last time he could properly get it, he got it. But, he raided that Mythic, I saw him, and he was like, dude, that was really fun, it was a great achievement, not going to do it again because you know what? Other things I can do with my time. That's why I'm not raiding Mythic. So that's what I'm doing on my PvE character, and that will involve, of course, doing pretty deep Korthia business. PvP Warrior, that's the thing that I want to do as well. So that means I've got to talk about the Shadowlands alt experience. For loads of people, it's kind of awful. I mean, I talked about Matt a little bit ago. His situation, he rolled a fresh alt, but for that alt, the Bis Covenant was the same Covenant that his main was already in. So he's just presented with having to do the same damn campaign again. And that's what I call pretty damn boring. Now for me, assuming everything that I think I know is right, my warrior is going to be going for Venthyr. I've never done Venthyr before, so funny enough, me going for the Abyss thing at least gets me new content, even though Venthyr is, not actually the fantasy that I would normally go to. And that's the sort of reason why meaningful choice is an absolute goddamn meme. And whenever Blizzard talks about meaningful choice, you have that whole thing where they think that, it's only a meaningful choice if player power is involved. No, player power completely removes meaningful choice because you feel like you've got to do the thing that feels right. And even if you're a little bit suboptimal, guess what, Blizz? It feels bad. It feels bad to be suboptimal. And you guys really need to dial up the emotional intelligence side of how you design the game, especially around things like Covenants and how you approach how players engage with your game, because I think it's, sometimes not really that empathetic with how they'll actually feel as users, right? It's like if you're developing like a SaaS product, an application, an app, right? You're going to be thinking about what is the usability of my app? I just feel like they don't think about that too much. So that's what I'm going to be doing, this PvP warrior, right? So for me, the new alt experience is going to be, I do the skip that you can do straight to the 9.1 content. Now, the bit that's not going to be that fun is, Renown. Because let's be real, who really gives a shit about Renown? It's just a gate that you have to take your character through, So that's not particularly great, but you know what? I'll just suck it up. I think Preach said that running LFR is a pretty handy way to get your renown up, and there was a data mine string that referenced rapid renown catch-up, so maybe they'll just increase the rate of the current renown catch-up system, whatever it is, so that will be fine. And then, as you'll see soon in our gearing guide for the new patch, honestly, alt gearing's not that bad. It really ain't. I'm hoping I'll have some spare Stygia in my main to send gear over to the warrior, whatever. And the other thing is that early stage PvP gearing is actually pretty damn great. Once you get a starter set and you've got that upgradable honor gear, it's just a great loop, right? You hop into some BGs, you get some wins, you complete your weeklies, you get a whole bunch of honor, you upgrade your gear. Happy days. That's just the type of thing where I can sit there and just roll a bunch of BGs while I'm learning how to be a PvP warrior. So that, to me, is pretty good, pretty successful. Now, there is the thing where I also feel like I'm not playing two different tunes. I'm actually just playing two different specs. And that's the thing where the way that Shadowlands' systems work really double it down in you playing a spec. So me playing two separate alts but only one spec in each seems to be easier than some people, who really feel like they want to be optimal, and within my own way of playing the game, I do. Well, for them, playing like, one character but two specs, but those two specs feel like they're fighting with each other, in terms of Covenant choice and stuff like that, it can be rough. I suppose I'm just lucky, at least for me, that, if I wanted a multi-role, maybe it would be different, right? Maybe I think there are some classes where it's like their tank spec likes one Covenant, their healer spec likes another Covenant, stuff like that, which seems like a total hellscape. Whereas for me, it's Hunter and Warrior. From what I understand, at least I don't want to tank in the Warrior, it's just Venthyr, Night Fae, Happy Days, you're grand, so I'm going to be okay with that. And this is just one of those things where, for me, I'm like a tubby version of Neo from the Matrix. It's like the bullshit, the bullshit system stuff. I'm like, whoa! I'm kind of dodging all of these annoying systems bullets. And this kind of does bring me on to, I guess, another side of things. And that is that I'm so glad I didn't do any of this in the base patch, right? Because I mentioned to you guys that I had a legendary, the Lego that I used when I was raiding in my Hunter. And I had that on my shoulders. And that was because of, I think, the really good shoulders from the Nathria raid. They drop pretty late in the raid, so if you care about progression, you're obviously going to, put your Lego in your shoulders. That just makes sense because shoulders are a high item budget item, eye level, stat budget, whatever. But of course, I now need to recraft those. And, it's a sort of situation where I know that Soul Ash acquisition is way, way, way higher in the new patch, so whatever, but it doesn't feel good. And certainly, if I had fully leveled up to rank 4 my legendary instead of rank 2, and I'd incur, a whole bunch of gold had went into that, and if I'd done that in multiple characters, say, you know, the warrior and a hunter, I mean, I'd feel really bad. It would be one of those things where Blizzard would be saying, hey, so you know the way we got this new patch? Well, it kind of actually invalidates that stuff you were doing in the last patch. So I know you farmed all of that soul ash and you spent all of that gold. Well, hey, tough shit, it meant nothing. And that feels really shitty to me. And a bunch of people are saying that, hey, you get so much soul ash that it doesn't really matter. And I say back to those people, no. It's the sort of situation where if somebody invests a bunch of time and effort into World of Warcraft, and then, you know, the defense of the next patch's thing is you get so much of that currency that your previous effort wouldn't have mattered anyway, I then say, we're playing a role-playing game? Investment in your character has got to matter, right? It really does. You know, one patch shouldn't be invalidating, you know, the previous patch to that degree. You know, it's that rough thing that doubles down and play the patch, not the expansion. And that's not what we, I think, want to have happen to this game. So it's one of those things where, you know, for me, I can engage in patch 9.1 in a decently fun way, and I can try to get its best bits and have fun with my friends. And while, you know, you guys have seen me basically shred them on systems for the last while, especially in our Clips channel and our live streams, I have been personally quite lucky that I'm Fat Neo from the Matrix, right? I'm sort of avoiding those problems. So to me personally, I don't feel the sting of having dropped 400k, 500k gold and legendaries just to be told that I have to recraft them. And I have a lot of empathy for those people. And that's why, even though it does not impact me personally, I'm absolutely going to go to bat for those people. Because, I mean, so many of those people, they're the people who watch this channel. I mean, what is my job if not to, you know, serve? To do guides that are useful, to, I guess, be entertaining in whatever bizarre way I can be entertaining, because I'm really not that entertaining. And in that, you know, in this case, if there's people in the community who watch this channel and they are getting reamed by the game, I'm absolutely going to go to bat for those people, because it's just the damn right thing to do. Because they're good enough and decent enough to, you know, put time into our content. The least I can do is reciprocate it by actually listening to them and having some empathy. So that's why I do go hard on those things. But that's my situation. So what would get me playing patch 9.1 more? I'll say this. Number one is more content. Look, I'm a real, I'm wet for old school reps, right? That's the deal. That's the deal. I want some of those old school reps. Hey, Blizz, you just target a fantasy like the Argent Tournament or, you know, Netherring or something like that, and just give me one of those hyper thematic reps, you know? That would get me playing more. Now, that said, they have, via the relic fragments that you get in Korthia, they've actually built a little sort of system loop thing around that gameplay of rares and treasures. And I'm a little bit keen to see what that actually feels like, because on one hand, there's a bit in me that thinks, oh dear, it's another loop. Sometimes you have too many loops, you know, it can all just feel like you're on a big treadmill, on a conveyor belt, as, you know, we saw in the absolutely emotionally devastating Carbot animation video that I did a community post on it, just in case you haven't seen it. Yeah, I want to see what it's like. So I guess that is maybe one pro, I guess. But, you know, for me, it would be some of those old school reps that are, like, not necessarily a part of this new patch. You know, so it's just the sort of thing, like, if Blizz told me that, hey, something new's happened in Pandaria while you guys have been in the Shadowlands, and there's a new little activity for you to do. Or, hey, a bunch of people are trying to resurrect the Defias Brotherhood, so go do something. I know if that was kind of tied into a rep with a few just nice little cosmetic rewards, that would absolutely get me going. It would activate my almonds. But apparently that's what I want. Torghast, then. I think it is still 1000% Shoreghast, and the reason why is because of the why. As in, the why of doing Torghast. Because you don't really do Torghast to play a fun roguelite. You do Torghast to get Soul Ash and Soul Cinders. And in my opinion, you know, we can make things be so extrinsically motivated that we can kind of get a little bit lost in the weeds. And it's as if Torghast has been designed around this kind of mandatory feeling chore thing, and it's been designed around making that less annoying, less of a chore. And I do think that the Torghast changes in this patch are universal improvements, but in my head, what Torghast really should have been is a unique back-of-the-box feature of this expansion that was, off to the side, that was its own cool thing, where, I could maybe take my character in there and, in this, actually play Torghast in the same way I would play The Binding of Isaac as I did in uni, or, Dead Cells or something like that. And Torghast just, it ain't that. It's what it could have been, but at some point Blizzard made the decision to tie it to player power, and in my head it has just been a little bit doomed ever since. So, it's yet another back-of-the-box feature like Island Expeditions and Warfronts, where I think the WoW team has really fundamentally misunderstood, MMO virtual world stuff to the point of just, I don't know, man, is it sunk cost fallacy, whatever the hell it is. I'd actually be happy if the next expansion said, hey, we are doing no big risky feature this time. We're just going to give you loads of content. How about 12 dungeons at launch? How about 1 big raid and 2 small raids? How about 5 different unique reps spread across the zones that have got their own storylines and characters? How about, if that expansion has, maybe a mission table or something like that, how about we actually think about giving the characters in our mission table stories, allowing them to be, sort of bodyguard characters we take with us, like in Warlords of Draenor, but giving them way more story and making them actual characters that our character knows. That's what I'd like to see. So that's a few of the ways they could get me playing World of Warcraft more. I can tell you one thing that won't get me playing World of Warcraft more, and that is the conduit system. Because, man, you put that level of, holding my upgrades hostage to RNG in that particular way, turning it into such a Skinner box where it's like, hey, go get your research fragments, go do your this, go do your that, and click the item and hope to God that it randomly selects, A, a conduit that's even for the spec that your character uses, and B, a conduit that you actually want to use. Because in my head, it's like, we're doing all these conduits. Have you ever heard of Glyphs? Glyphs? Remember Glyphs, where it's like, what's the way I want to customize my spec? Oh, I want this thing, this thing, this thing. Bam, 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 bam. Done. Because to me, it's the customizing of my character that's fun. Not necessarily the, grinding shit to get random upgrade tokens. Hey, I would actually play the game more if they kept the conduit system as is, but just gave me a, an item maybe from killing raid bosses or dungeon bosses or PvP where I could just, right-click in the item, right-click in the conduit I want to upgrade, and I upgrade that conduit. Simply by indicating that you respect my time, I will play your game more, and it's the bits of the game that don't respect my time that are where I immediately leave. Why? Because I value my time. There's things I want to do with this channel, with our other channels, things that you'll see an announcement with in July, and another thing, after that, shortly, that mean a lot to me. And I only have so much time on Earth. It's the real situation, right? So if a game developer doesn't respect my time, I'm not going to engage. So how am I going to use my time? Well, there's things I can't tell you about yet. I actually cannot. I'd like to, but I can't. But in terms of gaming, it might be this game called Final Fantasy XIV, where I think you can play World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV and not have a flame war about it. You really can, because where FF has either weaknesses or not a massive amount of content, like FF's raid bosses seriously look goddamn incredible. I have seen people that I know play them, and it's like, wow, man, I want to be there. And I want to be there on my samurai, or because right now it's bard, but I'm going to get it to be samurai, and people have told me that the Dark Knight quest line is awesome, so I got to roll the Dark Knight too. That's all great. So for me, it's like FF, it's got really awesome raid content, but not a massive amount of it. But what is there is awesome, and that makes me really happy. It's got all these great storylines, especially as you get into the expansions and sort of away from A Realm Reborn. So for me, it's like, what a perfect MMO to play outside of my WoW stuff. Great. I'm now very happy. It certainly helps that FF has got a cheaper subscription as well. Beyond that, I've been playing Shogun 2 Total War, Blast from the Past, and an incredible game, seriously. While Rome has obviously got a special place in my heart, I think that Shogun 2 is probably the best Total War game ever made. especially when you start to learn about like the difference between Yari Ashigaru, Yari Samurai. You start to use the Yari wall well, right? You know, the Chad Yari Ashigaru, oh man, you get there and you use your Cav well, and oh, it's such a good game. But there's so many other games, you know. I finally, after 7 or 8 months, was able to get a PS5 in the UK. I mean, fellow people here, you guys know what it's like. You're following that account on Twitter that's like giving you stock alerts. Finally got it. I've got to play Ratchet and Clank. I mean, man, childhood favorite. I've got to play Ghost of Tsushima. There's so many awesome games to play. And that's what I want to say. You know, I love World of Warcraft, and that is why I really want to fight hard to protect it and to make it pretty damn clear where there's problems in the game. But you guys got to understand that I do that, and then I step away from World of Warcraft, away from those things that I don't like. I take what I like from the game, I step away, and then so that I can be a happy, insane person, I play other video games, and that's the main thing I would say. You know, don't feel like you're held hostage to World of Warcraft. It's okay to go play something else. So for me, I am going to be able to play 9.1 with my friends, play some classes, do some content, see a new raid. I mean, I love WoW raids. They're always great. It's why even many of the people who complain about WoW the most are still tuning into the MDI. They're still watching the Race to World First because it's like, it's a WoW boss fight. It's cool. You know, you can still get all those great things and ideally leave the bad things. I think it's extremely depressing that we feel like we are in that situation, though, and that's why I'm going to always fight to make WoW as good as it can be, right? To, you know, just get the word out there, you know? That's what it's going to be. Till then, I'm going to take the best of everything around me, and that's it. That's my plan for patch 9.1, both for World of Warcraft, and also just for that period of time as a gamer. Let me know what you're doing, and, you know, I hope that, in a way, this maybe gave you some ideas for what you want to do in World of Warcraft, or maybe helped you realize that you can take the things you want out of WoW, and then, you know, maybe once you're done, cancel your sub till the next patch comes out and go play some other games instead. Because seriously, the WoW subscription cost is like about the same as Xbox Game Pass. Remember, Xbox Game Pass is on PC. Just get that instead of your WoW subscription whenever you're not playing WoW. You'll have a blast. There's so many incredible games on there. And of course, Game Pass is on PC. So, there you go. All right, that's it for me. That's my personal update. I've got no snappy outro. So I guess I'll just shill our Patreon. Why not? There's awesome stuff going on the Patreon. Me and Matt, we recorded an episode of Losing Our Marbles because we actually have got new additions to the team. Yeah, we do. We got new additions to the team. Of course, there's 2 episodes of lore walking and bring you a wave of monthly merch as well. And the people who are on our voting tier, well, they voted for the next episode of lore walking, and it is going to be time. It's going to be dragons, which is really fun because Jared on our team, he actually had an infinite Dragonflight lore script that it was sitting in. So we use Notion now, but like a year ago, we used Monday.com for our project management suite. And he had this big thing about the Caverns of Time, and I'm super hyped to dive into his script, see what he was thinking. And I'm aware, by the way, that Nobble's got a video. I know he has been really excited about this same thing, so man, I want to hop into this this timey, dragony situation and have some fun, because come on, Kairos killed Zoradormi in that vision, and we still don't really know what that vision means. Are they going to pick up that plot thread? Who the hell knows? So it'll be fun. Okay. Bye. Have a great day. I will see you next time. Activate my almonds.